Hi guys, Kaz here. Wanted to do another video about the Luggie Scooter. Thought I'd take the opportunity while we're going through these social distancing measures and this partial lockdown to maybe try to add some value and talk about something I'm interested in, and also I suppose it helps pass the time a little bit. So what I've done is I've collated all the questions, well not quite all the questions, but the most common questions I get asked when I'm using the scooter and the questions I've been asked over the last 10 years of using the scooter. So I've made a note of them, so if you see me referring back and forth to a piece of paper, it's just where I've written the questions, and it just makes it a bit easier to go through. So the questions I've got, I'll go through. As and when I can, I'll see if I can do something, put some graphics on the screen or something as and when I need to, or as and when required, so I'll see what I can do. So I'll go through the questions, and if there are any other questions after we finish, always add them to the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. So the questions I always get asked about the Luggie Scooter, the first one is, well not first one, but one of the ones are, when people see me using it, they will ask what it is and what make it is. I think because I suppose even still to this day, it doesn't look like your average scooter, and people always say to me, oh, what scooter is it, where did you get it from, and all these kind of things, but they will ask what make is it and what it is called. So it's called the Luggie Scooter, Luggie and scooter. It's quite a unique, but I always struggle when I'm talking to people, because obviously when you're in the mall or you're out shopping or you're out in the park and someone speaks to you about it, you have to kind of pronounce it to them. So it's well, spell it out to them so it's a bit easier. But yeah, it's called the Luggie Scooter. That's soon followed by where did you get it from? To be honest, it's very, very easy, that question. There's only one place in the UK that you can actually get it from. The place is called, I know it as Local Mobility, but it's called Luggie Scooters. I think I'll try to put the website. I think the website address is luggiescooters.com. So I'll try to put a link in the comments or maybe on the screen somewhere, just so you can see. But that's the only place in the UK you can buy it from. So, and it's like the approved place. And luckily for me, it's not far from where I live, but they deliver all around the country and stuff, so you shouldn't have any problems. And they've been selling it longer. Well, I've had mine 10 years, and they've been at least selling it 10 years, and they've had it before that. So it's well worth getting in touch with them. There's not much they don't know about the scooter. So anything else that I suppose there's questions I can't answer, or any official questions you want to ask them, I'm sure you can speak to them directly. Okay. Next question I get asked is, does it fold up into one piece? The answer is yes, and that is the main reason I bought this scooter, because obviously, for people who don't know me, I have a condition called primary progressive multiple sclerosis, which means I struggle standing up, to be honest, so I need something that's easily folded up and easy for me to delegate to someone else to put it in. And I still have this knack, or this little way of putting it into my car. I used to put it in the back boot of my car, but now obviously as my conditions progressed a little bit, it's the walk from the back boot to the front of the car is not really, well, I can't do that anymore, so I'll put it in the side of the car. But once again, because it's all in one, so it folds up all into one, many different ways you can fold it, and then you can just put it in your car. So it makes it very easy to transport, whether you're in the car, in a taxi, on an aeroplane, or whatever you might be. But in simple answers, yes, it folds up into one piece. Next one, where is the battery? Well, the battery is directly underneath the seat. It's kind of, the good thing about the Luggie, it's so cleverly made and built into it. I mean, it's very, like I say, it's just very cleverly made. So the battery is right below the seat. And it's quite good, because even when I'm sat on the scooter and I want to bend down and plug in the charger, I can do that. But like I said, I'll try to put some visual on the screen if possible to explain to you. But yeah, it's right below, and the battery does come in and does come out. The only time I've ever had to take it in and out is when you're travelling on the plane. The pilot usually asks you to take the charger with you in where you're sat. And the only other time I've probably done it is probably just to look at it, because I don't really swap batteries or anything like that. It's just, yeah, I just charge it and you can see it. So yeah, I've never really found the need to do it. Okay, next question I get asked. Is it reliable, and do you have spare parts? From my experience, I've never needed to use spare parts. I try to take my scooter for a service. For me, it's like almost like a pair of shoes, isn't it? You can't go anywhere without it. So for me, I always make sure that the car service every couple of years or something. I suppose it's just my lazy way of getting someone else to clean it or something. But yeah, I give the guys at Luggie Scooters a call, and they they pick it up. They give me a courtesy scooter as well, so it's quite good. But yeah, in terms of spare parts, never really had any issues with that. When I first bought it, I was really keen, saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy a spare battery." And Paul, the guy who runs the place, he said to me, "Well, Kaz, if you ever need a spare battery, let me know." And 10 years later, I've never needed a spare battery, so it just proves that you very rarely need them. And I mean, I'm on to my second scooter now because I fancied an upgrade and stuff. But yeah, it's absolutely fine. Never needed any spare batteries. The only thing that goes on the handle sometimes, I suppose the rubber rubber doesn't really wear out. I just kind of fancy changing them. But when the guys at the Luggie Scooter have that, so they can do it for you. But in terms of spare parts and stuff, never really needed them. You don't need to change anything. So there are extras you can buy, like the the armrests and stuff. But I wouldn't really class that as a spare part or something. I have a problem with the reliability. In terms of reliability itself, never ever had a problem with my scooter. Touch wood. Well, never really had a problem. I think the only times I've ever spotted something is when I've put it in for like a little service, and the chap who's ever serviced it said, "Oh, Kaz, I noticed the screw needed changing or something," but like something I'd never noticed, just one of those nice to do jobs, I think. But yeah, I've never, so reliability wise, excellent, never had a problem with it. And spare parts, I don't know, because I've never really needed to buy any. So that's that question. Is it heavy? From what I'm sure the specs. Excuse me. I'm sure the specs are available online. But whenever I just use as a rule of thumb, I always say to people it's about 25 kgs in weight. So I mean, 25 kgs isn't mega heavy, but it's heavy enough. So I mean, obviously I couldn't pick it up with two hands and put it into the boot, because I'd just lose balance and fall. But the way I do it, if you've seen the videos, I always lift the front of the scooter up, put it in the car, and then lift the seat up and push the rest of it in. So it's almost like leverage, using a bit of leverage to push the scooter in the car. And I suppose it is. It's more heavy at the back than it is at the front. So the front where you got your steering wheel, that's not so heavy, but at the back where I suppose the machinery or the technology and the battery is, that's heavier. So if my mate or the taxi driver or anyone's about to lift it into their car, if I'm not driving, for example, I'll just say to them, yeah, lift it, but watch out, it's just heavier on that side. So at least when they're lifting it, they're prepared for it. And they generally just pick it up and put it in the car. So it's not heavy, and once again, it's all in one piece, so they're not having to take off the battery to make it lighter or anything like that. It's all in one piece. They're taking it and putting it in the car. A question I get asked is, when I'm putting it in the car, is, do you need help? I mean, people are just, obviously the humanity kicks in. Everyone always wants to help people. I suppose it's what makes us human beings. But whenever I'm in my car, I have like a deliberate way of putting it in my car. So for those of you, I mean, I might even do a video on that actually when I get a chance. But I have a car with a sliding door. It's a Seat Alhambra. So the sliding door is at the side. I put the seat down, which is nearest to the door. So then I'll stand next to the car, like kind of gripping it. And then I'll lift the front of reach down, lift the front of the seat, the front of the scooter up, put it on the seat, and then push the rest of it in. So while I'm in the process of doing that and getting ready, I mean, I suppose it doesn't look pretty to the outsider, but I have my own deliberate way of doing it. I'm used to doing it and doing them out on my own. It keeps me independent. I like the autonomy of it, and just basically gives me a bit of freedom. But yeah, people always ask, "Oh, do you need a hand putting it in the car?" And it's usually I'm fine, but if I'm ever really struggling or something, you let the pride go and just ask someone. But yeah, so one of the questions I always get asked is, do you need help? But I think once you get the scooter, you just work out the way of doing things. But there's no other scooter that I could do what I do with the Luggie. So for me, it was the easy choice to have the Luggie scooter, because it's the only scooter that actually does the job that I want it to do. From my perspective and I suppose the way I do things, it's just perfect for me. So that's worked out quite good. Is it? I suppose that's followed by a similar question to say, is it easy to lift? I mean, I couldn't lift it with two hands, because obviously I struggle standing up, so I can only do things with one hand at a time, if you like. So as I described earlier in the video, I always use the leverage, lift the front, and then push the back in or something. And I advise other people who are helping me sometimes, to do the same. So in terms of is it easy to lift? I think if you do it the right way, it is. And even if you're, if you're able-bodied, you can lift it many ways. You can pull it along like you may see in the other like official Luggie video from the company. You can pull it along like a suitcase, but then that means closing it up and reopening it up again. But I prefer not to do that. So if I'm using myself, I just use it for like I'll put the steering wheel down and then leave the seat up because it's easier. But if I'm going in a taxi or I'm out with my friends and they're putting it in their car, they'll put the steering wheel down, we'll lower the seat and they'll just lift it up. So even for someone who's not even for not yourself, even for a taxi driver, it's easy to lift and they're quite, oh right, okay, it's not as complicated as it might seem. So, and I think they like it because it's all in one piece, so they're not like dismantling it and redoing it. You're just basically saying to them, right, pick it up like that, put it in the back, and the job's a good one. How do you charge it is one of the questions I get asked as well. How to charge it? Dead easy. You have the lead, plug it in. That's it. It looks just like a laptop charger. So you've got the main plug socket that goes into the wall, and then you've got the black bit that's I suppose like the actual charger bit, and then you have the lead that goes from that to the scooter. Or I suppose for the laptop, it goes straight to the laptop. So, and because the great way it's made, I could I've done it many times. I've kind of, if I'm out and about and I need a quick charge, I'll just kind of, if I'm in a coffee shop, I'll just kind of plug it in, charge my scooter, and then just carry on playing on my phone or whatever I was doing. But it's dead easy to charge. Very simple. Even in the car, I have the in-car charger, so you still have what I described: the plug, the black metal bit, the black bit, and then the lead that goes into the scooter. The only extra bit I have, because obviously in a car you don't have a 3-pin plug socket, you have like a 2-pin one, which is just behind the armrest. For those of you, I suppose in modern cars, it's just behind the armrest, and it's like a 2-pin thing. So you get this 2-pin thing that connects to like a little normal 3-pin plug socket. So plug the charger into there and plug the thing into the car. So I'd say that's a necessity. It's really good. So the lead only costs like £7 or £8 or something from like on eBay, Amazon, or Halfords or somewhere like that. So it's really useful to use, and yeah, dead easy to charge. Next question: how long does a charge last? This is something I've always said, but I think it depends where you go. If you were going like around the Trafford Centre or a mall all day, I think you could do about 8 miles in the scooter because it's all like a smooth surface, all generally on one level, and you've got no real obstacles no real obstacles in front of you. However, if you're out and about and you're out having a walk in the park, or you're going over a small bit of gravel, or you're going up inclines and declines and stuff, so if you put a bit more effort into it, it might last a bit less. But I've never been in a situation where I'm like, oh god, I can't do that because I haven't got enough charge. If I even suspect anything like that, I just wrap the charger up, put it in a bag, or put it in my little man bag I carry around with me, or leave it in the car or wherever it is. I'll just have it with me. But I've never had a problem of charging. So in terms of how long it'll last, I'd say between 5 and 8 miles, because sometimes I use it quite roughly and going on the street and up and down small curbs and that kind of stuff. But as I mentioned, if you were just going out for a day out in the shopping centre or something, you could probably go for 8 miles or so. But or like if you're going to like Tesco's, the smoother the surface, the better it is, basically. How long does it take to charge? See, I think officially it takes between around 2 to 4 hours to charge. But what I've noticed is that, I wasn't sure because I used to charge it overnight and I used to think, oh god, I hope it doesn't overcharge. But I spoke to the guys at Luggie Scooters and they said, I think Paul was saying to me, overcharging it doesn't work against it, and sometimes it's actually good for it. So if you plug it in, and you always know, because you can, in that little black bit in the middle, you can hear this like hooing noise because there's a little fan going around it, and you know when it's charging, and there's a green light on it to indicate that it's in charge. Oh, I think no, there's an orange light to indicate it's on charge, and then the green light says it has charged. But yeah, you can do the all night thing, but sometimes, to be honest, I'm not that meticulous and I'm not that organised. So sometimes if I'm in my car and I think, oh god, I forgot to charge it, I'll just sit in the car for 20 minutes while the scooter charges. Or if I'm at home, I'll just stick it on charge for 20 minutes and get me enough to where I think I'm going to go and then carry on. So even a 20-minute charge does. So it's not like you have to charge it for 2 hours or you have to do it overnight. But I mean, if you're going to go anywhere, I'd probably just use, as a rule of thumb, 2 hours. So go for 2 hours and that kind of covers you. Next one, lots of people say, can I have a go? And it's, excuse me. Yeah, and I always generally say, yes, you can have a go, but it's not complicated to use. It's literally just forward and backwards. I mean, it's not much doing. There's a little red switch underneath, a bit like a light switch. So light switch on, forward, backwards. The only time I say no to people is obviously if I'm on my own on the scooter, I can't get off the scooter and stand up or something. But yeah, people are welcome to use it, give it a go. And I think people are quite, and it's obviously you can control the speed because obviously the more you hold down the I suppose the lever, the quicker it's gonna go. Yeah, in terms of people having a go, yeah, people are more than welcome to have a go. Especially if I'm sat in a coffee shop or a restaurant or something and you fancy go, yeah, please do. But yeah, dead easy to use. So yeah, I've never had a problem with that. Next one, can you take it on the plane? Yes, you can take it on the plane. The key question they always ask is it lithium battery? And is it lead acid? And so it's not a lead acid battery, the Luggie I use. I think there is a cheaper version of the Luggie that the Luggie company do, because obviously some people aren't bothered about going abroad, but I find the lithium battery the best. So yeah, you just say it's lithium battery and it's dry cell. So I think that's the key word. And then I think years ago when I first started using to go abroad, I think about 7 or 8 years ago when I first went abroad with the scooter, you had to tell them exactly lots of details. But these days, I think as long as they know it's dry cell, and I think so many people take the Luggie abroad, I think they're so used to seeing them now. So it's a lithium battery. The most they ask you to do is take the battery out, and taking the battery out is like a touch the lever, pull it out. I mean, it doesn't take more than 3 seconds. So the pilot sometimes requests that you take the battery inside the plane with you where you sat, and then when the scooter goes down in the baggage area, it goes down in the baggage area. It's without the battery basically. What I would say there is, if you're someone like I'm someone, as soon as I get off the plane door, I want my scooter right there. So when they're taking it downstairs, make sure you tell them to put it where they put the buggies. So if a parent's got a buggy, they put it there, and as soon as they get off the plane, they get the buggy back. So make sure you're very, very precise about that and say, I need my scooter as soon as I get off the plane door. Otherwise, they'll put it with the rest of the baggage and you'll have to collect it in baggage collection. And I mean, that's fine because the airports have their own wheelchairs and people who help people with these kind of, like people who struggle getting about. But I don't know, I like the power and control and so the freedom, autonomy of having my own scooter exactly when I need it. So, but if you want it, obviously just mention this to him. I've also been on a ferry with it. Going on the ferry is fine. I'm kind of whizzing about in the ferry, so that's no problem. Taxis, as I described before, very simple. Buses, I'm sure you could go on a bus, but I've never been on buses with it. Black cabs, like the public hire rather than the private hire, which I was describing. Black cabs, with the black cab, you just go wheel straight in and you can transfer off onto the seat, but I just stay in my scooter because obviously the Luggie's quite narrow, isn't it? So you can just go straight in, and that's one of the good things about it. It's very, very useful for getting about. But yeah, in terms of answering the actual question, yes, you can take it on a plane, and there's no real worries about that. I suppose then it comes down to you as an individual. Do you want to get to where the check-in desk and put it with the luggage, or do you want to take it with you all the way to the plane door? As I mentioned, I like going exactly to the plane door, but I think there is the option where you can sit in one of their wheelchairs and they can take the scooter onto the plane themselves and that kind of stuff. But once again, that's personal choice. But yes, you can take the Luggie onto the plane, and obviously just mention to them it's dry cell, it's lithium battery, and that's I suppose that's the magic words. Next one. How sturdy and strong is it? I mean, I've had mine like 10 years, and I mean, I don't treat it delicately because, like I say, I pull it out the car, and as you can imagine, sometimes I'm lifting it into the car and I didn't quite reach it, and it just bangs back on the floor. And sometimes when I'm sat on a chair, I'm kind of pulling the scooter towards me to transfer over, or, I mean, I'm quite, not rough, I don't think rough's the right word, but I suppose I use it the way I suppose someone who needs assistance would use it. I mean, it's not like some sort of very precious thing. I suppose it is precious, but it's not like a delicate thing. I use it quite roughly, and I use it the way I need it. So sometimes, even if I'm on the couch at home and I want to kind of just push myself up or just pull myself, I'll kind of pull on the scooter and just kind of move forward a little bit or something. So yeah. And in terms of driving on the roads, I mean, riding on the roads or the pavement. I mean, not riding on the pavements or in shops, in malls or anywhere. I mean, I find it quite sturdy. I mean, I've never really had a problem with it. As I mentioned in like the safety videos I've done, make sure you always have two hands on the steering wheel, because, as you can imagine, even if you're on a bicycle or people who ride bikes and you go up a curb holding only one hand, I mean, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? So yeah, sturdy and strong. I've never had a it's fine. Like I say, I've got two scooters now. I have one that I kind of throw about on the planes and stuff, which is kind of my holiday scooter, and then I have my new scooter, if you like, which I kind of look a bit more after. I suppose I had the first one 10 years and the second one 5 years, so still quite long anyway. But yeah, never had a problem with sturdiness or strength or anything. And I think it's quite rough and tough, and it does the job. Another question, and this is the final one on my list. How much does it cost, and where can you get it from? Yeah, in terms of the cost of the Luggie, as you can imagine, over time there's different versions of the scooter, because I think people want slightly different variations, and you know what it's like when something gets popular, someone wants it slightly different or slightly bigger, slightly different. And the one I use is the standard Luggie. The standard Luggie, I've just got my phone out now just to check. The standard Luggie costs £2,295 at the moment, and that's excluding VAT. Obviously, if you've got a health condition or need help getting around, generally it's exempt from VAT. So when it's for the exempt from VAT price, it is £2,295, and that's from the Luggie scooters. And as I mentioned, there's quite a few variations of it now, like a bigger and a smaller one, but I've always had the standard one. First time I bought it was a standard one. Second time I bought it was a standard one. Both times, as I mentioned, I bought it from Luggie Scooters. I'll try to put maybe, like I say, a link in the comments as well from where you can get it from. I'll try to put something on the screen, hopefully, to give you the name of the scooter, and just so you can maybe Google it and check it. Because like I say, before you buy anything, you always do your research, and it's just I mean, for me, it's just the value for money. I mean, I can't explain to you just how important the scooter is for me, and from my perspective, I couldn't use any other scooter. I can't take scooters apart. I can't bend up and down and do things that I would have to do with another type of scooter. And with this Luggie scooter, I feel lucky to actually have it, because it's so useful and just so well made. And even like the two versions I've got, I mean, it's the same scooter, but obviously things get updated. It's a bit like a car. If you buy a brand new car today and you buy the same brand new car after 4 years, there's always like a few enhancements and a few touches. But to be honest, with the Luggie, there wasn't much they could do to improve, so it still looks pretty much the same as it did when I first bought it. And even with the second one I bought, like I say, very, very similar. And but yeah, I've always bought mine from the only place you can, which is Luggie Scooters in Lee. And it's really, 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 like I say, I can't praise the scooter more highly than I already have done. I mean, it's very useful, and for the money, I mean, value for money is fantastic. I mean, because I've used it. Because the first one I bought, I've still got it now, and it still works fine. And as I mentioned, I take it on holiday, and that's 10 years old. And the impact and positive difference it makes to your life is, I know, for people who struggle getting around, and if you are someone who has to use a wheelchair or a scooter or really struggle with walking sticks, you'd know exactly what I'm talking about when I say something just makes life easier for you. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, as I mentioned, I've tried loads of different, I've seen loads of different scooters, and I like to research these, see what's new on technology. But 10 years ago, the Luggie was the best scooter I'd ever bought, and for me now, it still is the best. So hopefully these questions I've answered have give you a bit more of a steer and a direction if you were doing some research, or if you're someone who has the Luggie now, you're probably nodding along and saying, yeah, I get asked those questions as well. But yeah, any questions, please add them in the comments, or ask me any questions directly, or whichever one's easier for you. But yeah, hope it's been useful, and I hope this video adds a bit of valuing and gives you some useful information that can make a positive difference in your life. Okay, thank you very much. Bye bye.